Supreme Court issues a temporary block on deportations of alleged gang members here in Texas. And how an Austin comedy festival is helping local businesses. What the Moon Tower Comedy Fest means for the city's economy. Over 100 protesters gathered on the lawn of the state capitol for the hands-off picnic earlier today. The picnic is the latest in a series of events against the Trump administration here in Austin. Demonstrators are pushing back against the cuts to federal employment, cuts the administration says are necessary to reduce government spending. Organizers say events like these are about speaking up for others.
I really think that it is important to advocate for those that are too scared to be here. So having a community and having something that is safe is very important to me.
Austin wasn't the only city to see demonstrations this weekend. Thousands gathered in New York and other metros across the country as part of the 50-51 movement. It describes itself as, quote, a national movement made up of everyday Americans who stand for democracy and who stand against the authoritarian actions of the Trump administration. Taking a closer look at the Alien Enemies Act, the law originally passed back in 1798, 9 years after George Washington was elected. It allows the federal government to deport non-citizens without the opportunity to face immigration court or a federal judge, but only during wartime. The Associated Press says in March, Trump claimed the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua was engaged in irregular warfare against the United States. The act has only been used 3 times, those being during the War of 1812, World War I, and World War II. The Moon Tower Comedy Festival's final shows are happening right now. The more than week-long festival has become a staple in the comedy world, and all those laughs are also bringing money to Austin and beyond. KXAN's Barrett Tryon looks at how festivals like this are helping our local economy.
It's officially been 5 years since COVID was declared a global pandemic.
Since then, many people found new passions and became inspiring stories of resilience. A tradition more than 100 years in the making took the stage at Hogg Auditorium on Friday. Reporting Texas TV's Hope Vanderberg takes us to the oldest and longest-running talent show in UT history. The closure of the Gender and Sexuality Center with the passage of SB 17 has left many LGBTQ students wondering if and how its replacement, the Women's Community Center, would continue to serve them. As exams and projects pile up, experts say it's important to reach out for help. Students like Finch have raised safety concerns about the overcrowding, saying they're afraid to get water or use the bathroom. The beta for the platform opened on November 14th, and it's similar to platforms like Tribal and Gab, except instead of catering to a left-wing or right-wing audience, Post bills itself as a platform based on accurate information, expert opinion, and stricter content moderation policies than you might see on other platforms. The Moody College held its annual UT Marketplace on Wednesday, where local brands like Raising Cane's and American Campus can connect with students. Housing is one of the most popular attractions at the event. Buildings try to sign students for next school year with all sorts of giveaways, from popsicles to concert tickets. For some students, the peak at apartment living is persuasive.
I'm honestly not sure yet, but I think it definitely opened a new possibility.
It comes as students raise concerns about building maintenance. The Student Tenants Union says residents were displaced from Crest on Pearl in February after city inspectors found structural condition violations. They say students are currently living out of hotel rooms. We reached out to the manager of that building to confirm those claims, and we're waiting on a response. Live in the newsroom, Kevin Myers, reporting Texas TV. Club sports can offer students friendly competition, exercise, and community. But for transgender students, they may no longer be an option. On September 1st, Senate Bill 15, or SB 15, which prohibits trans college athletes from joining sports teams that match their gender identity, went into effect in Texas. A number of national governing bodies for club sports have instituted similar policies for their members. In response, 13 of the 48 club sports offered by the university now require students to submit proof of sex assigned at birth to participate. Texas Student Television has filed an open records request with the university to obtain a list of the 13 teams that have implemented this requirement. Currently, teams are requiring students to upload a copy of their birth certificates, passports, driver's licenses, or another government document that accurately states a student's sex assigned at birth.
I understand why it's in play, but I also do think it's harmful. It's also harmful for the individual themselves because, for instance, a trans man doesn't want to just be around a bunch of women.
Josiah Gasca is president of Gamma Rho Lambda, a Greek organization for LGBTQ+ students at the University of Texas, and the organization has worked with rec sports in the past.
My members are already scared. It's going to be harder now. They're just going to avoid it altogether and probably join community sports, which is still good, but I know deep down they would probably want to stay with the university.
TSTV News reached out to the university for comment on the new policy and received this statement. Updates were implemented to comply with Texas Senate Bill 15 and the National Governing Body Guidelines of relevant sport club organizations. For TSTV News, I'm Kevin Myers. For today's college students, it's harder than ever to agree to disagree, and many campuses reflect America's polarization. Experts say the current climate is stifling students from talking politics.
There's been too many instances where those kinds of confrontations have turned really ugly.
Some UT students are looking to change that. Bridge USA is one such group of students dedicated to viewpoint diversity and instructive dialogue.
We're hoping to change that, by exposing our members to a wide variety of views.
Eng attributes political divisions to a negative media environment that she hopes to change through discussion. Her students reacted to President Trump's flurry of executive orders during a March 5th discussion.
The government should not be a profit-seeking institution.
Eng says her students reflect the student body, which she says leans left, but she says they're all independent thinkers. She says that's what makes it work.
Everyone recognizes the importance of having a healthy dialogue.
Another group looking to bridge divides is Atidna International. Their mission, civil dialogues on one of the most divisive issues on campus, the Israel-Hamas war.
This is the place for ideas and knowledge to be transfused and transmitted through conversation.
Elijah is Jewish and the founder of Atidna and co-president of the UT chapter. He spent time in the West Bank where he witnessed discrimination against Palestinians. His co-president is Palestinian American and has family in the West Bank.
It's not even just Israel-Palestine where we see this, but people are just too much into their echo chambers. People are not willing to explore beyond a perspective that perhaps they had growing up.
During a March 7th meeting, the group discussed the Oscars Best Documentary winner, No Other Land. The film covers the displacement of Palestinians in the West Bank and has been criticized both for its story and its Israeli co-producer.
My cousins had no issue with it, many of them who lived in the land, of course. The family WhatsApp, they were applauding it.
You only have so many fights you can pick. Mm-hmm. And they're picking fights with sympathetic Israelis.
Experts say Atidna is doing important work, and allowing students the choice to opt into these discussions is huge.
They're tackling a subject that, for a lot of people on this campus, is extremely important, but extremely difficult to discuss.
Experts say there's limited, but promising research. Still, they say there can be limitations from a student-led approach.
When you get into action being taken at sort of a policy level, that I think you have to ask, what role should the university play?
Still, students say change can start with them.
Be the bigger person, share your story, and I think we can all definitely benefit from someone like that in our lives.
Kevin Myers, KXAN News. When it comes to Texas basketball, the women's team doesn't always receive the same amount of attention as the men's team from the student body, but one group of Moody students is looking to change that. At the University of Texas, women's basketball has long seen lower turnout at home games than the men's team for similar games. During this season, total attendance at the men's games has been nearly 67% higher than that of the women's games. The Longhorn Hellraisers called out the disparity in a statement in late January. The Hellraisers said they were greatly disappointed by the turnout at the women's basketball game against the Oklahoma Sooners. The Hellraisers said they will be partnering with The Herd, a new organization to boost attendance for women's sports. The Herd is the code name of a project by The Lab to create a new student section to support women's basketball, with the final name to be determined soon.
Our mission was, let's get the students active, engaged, and coming to women's games with the same energy and excitement that they have for men's games. The energy, it's not there yet, but when we get students there, they're excited.
You see how great they play and how awesome of a team they are, the chemistry they have, the way that they move on the court. You end up staying.
The Lab is a student-run ad agency at the Moody College that takes on real-world projects. Last year, the Lab created The Corral, a student section for the recently opened Moody Center to support men's basketball.
Coach Ogden came to our class and said, look, an active student section we know is worth 3.5 points per game. We want to really create a home court advantage as we move into this new fabulous facility. We sort of started thinking that we would just sort of migrate the corral over to women's basketball. And we really came to the conclusion that we really needed to create a unique student section for women's basketball. And if that could expand into soccer and other places, great.
The lab says they're targeting organizations such as Texas Palm and the Texas Darlings for the new section, with the Hellraisers already on board.
The hope is that all those people will see themselves, all those different organizations will see themselves as part of the herd or whatever it's called.
I think our big goal is just to get people there once, and then they're going to fall in love with the team. Every game that I've been to, I see the volume and the energy increasing, so just only up from here.
The lab says they have a number of events in the works and a big announcement coming March 2nd. For TSTV News, I'm Kevin Myers.